Welcome to the Blue Jackets Morning Skate here on Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health. I'm Bob McElligott alongside of Jody Shelley. The Blue Jackets today on the ice getting set to take on the San Jose Sharks. They'll wrap up their season series with the Sharks. Blue Jackets lost in San Jose in the game before the Olympic break by the final score of 3-2. Coming into this game, coming in on a high, just coming in after 2 victories, one against the Nashville Predators and one against the Detroit Red Wings here 2 nights ago, a big 4-1 victory. So, Jody, this team should be feeling pretty good about itself once again right now.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, you go back to the road trip started in Chicago with that. It was a big marginal victory for the Chicago Blackhawks. But after that, you go into Nashville, and they really gutted out a nice win, 1-0, and got this thing going. The game the other night against Detroit, boy, it was great to see those fans from Michigan and with the Detroit red and white on, quiet with the last minute to go with a nice 4-1 spread of the score there in favor of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I think that they've got a real tough task here tonight with the San Jose Sharks, a team that's coming out of the West. They're hot. They've got some key players well rested that didn't go to the Olympics. They got a guy in Vlasic who got a lot of confidence going to the Olympics and winning a gold medal with Team Canada. They have a group that's been together a while, and they've complemented with players like Rafi Torres, who's a character guy who's just getting back. Last time we were in San Jose, we didn't see Logan Couture, who's one of the best players, best up-and-coming young players in the NHL. So the Jackets have to be prepared, and this is one of those games they can't let up. They got to frustrate the San Jose Sharks in the entire 60-minute game.
To go back to that last game the two played, as I said, it was right before the Olympic break, and the San Jose Sharks were extremely hungry about getting that win that day. There was, they were kind of, they were going through the motions at that point, and that was their last chance to really crank it up, and that's exactly what they did. The Blue Jackets did make it a close game, but even without the Logan Coutures and the Rafi Torres and the guys that you mentioned, they still came out and they played a good, solid game, and they played it in their building where it's very, very tough to win. Yeah,
and it's funny what confidence does for a team. And you're talking about the San Jose Sharks as a team that has a lot of confidence. They've had it for a long time. When they go to training camp, they don't talk about the playoffs. They talk about the Stanley Cup. And they're at that level, and that's the level the Jackets want to get to, is that when they come to camp, preparation starts for the Stanley Cup. At trade deadline, you make tweaks, you make that push, and make things happen. They have a goalie that's won a Stanley Cup. They've got a few players in that organization that have won Stanley Cups, and that's the thing they want to. That's what they live and breathe every day. So, yeah, when they have players out, and we've said it all year with different organizations, it's amazing how these teams with depth and these teams with a culture, it's very seamless for these teams. So, the Jackets are the team though that a lot of the league is talking about, Bob, and we know that. We've spoken with people around the league, and a lot of respect has been gained from last year and what they're doing this year to this point.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And, one of the things that other people around the league are asking is this team for real? And if you look at what they did last year, and I think the push that they made at the end of the year last year has so much set them up for this post-Olympic break schedule, because they've gone through it. The bulk of these guys have already gone through it, which means they believe in themselves. They believe in their ability to do it. They've already done it, so they know it can be done. And when you do all of that, you feel a heck of a lot better about yourselves. And so they do have a belief factor here right now.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, what kind of team do you want to be on? Do you want to be on a team that's full of skill and go in and rely on the skill to hopefully win? Or do you want to be a part of a team like this Columbus Blue Jacket team? They have an identity of hard work. And I remember as a kid, it was like, I used to be on hard-working teams. I'm sure everyone was in any sport, right? And you used to love to go up against that team that was supposed to win, or that team that had all this skill in the world. Because hard work is, skill without hard work is useless, most of the time. But, it's just a good identity, and I think you feel that kind of sense here with the Blue Jackets, in the sense that they love their identity. They know what they need to work, and there's no elite goal-scoring superstar that's going to save the day. It's going to be, I tell you, it's a lot of hard work for this team to win. It's got to be cut by committee. We've said that a lot. It's a fun team to be around, Bob, especially in these situations where the other night, Detroit, we know that's always been a problem for the Blue Jackets. It's one of those things here. And now you go back to Nashville. That game, too, always a tough building to win. And now the San Jose Sharks tonight. Good to see those changes in those two buildings I just mentioned, or with those two teams, Detroit and Nashville. And I love the way this sets up for tonight at home.
So the Blue Jackets getting set to take on the Sharks here tonight. at Nationwide Arena. It's kind of nice to be home for a couple of days here for the Blue Jackets because that long 6-day road trip last week, and now when you look ahead at the schedule, there's going to be a lot of these out for a day, back for a day. But you warned me going into this season, moving from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference. That's kind of what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
You're in and out all the time.
Keep a bag packed and keep it by the door, because you get home and you take a breath, and then you go back and you see your wife and kids, and you say, I got to go, and then you're gone again. And it's just a different kind of travel. I mean, you're still going to get 41 days in other buildings, but you know, in the West you swing through. Like, for example, San Jose Sharks are here tonight. They'll fly to New York City tomorrow. They got Long Island, and then a day off, and then the Rangers, and then they'll swing back. I don't know if they have the game on the way home, but you know, you kind of loop out.
They go right back
and loop back, and with us, we'll go. You know, the game in Carolina, come home, and then 2 games at home, and then go to Detroit or somewhere closer. So, yeah, it's different travel, Bob, but it sure is nice.
Speaking of, yeah, it is nice. You're right. Speaking of the travel, the San Jose Sharks played 2 nights ago at home. They beat up on Toronto 6-2. Then yesterday they flew in here, and that's a long flight.
Yeah.
So they obviously didn't practice yesterday, which this time of the year, flip a coin whether you need to do that or not, I guess.
I think you'd be a good coach.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Players coach over a lot of things.
Players coach. But they had to fly all the way in here, and that is a long trek. I don't know if that factors in tonight. Maybe you have a chance to get on them a little bit early tonight.
I think so. I really do, because you know, there's something about the Sharks too that, you know, when you have that much talent, depth, expectations, part of your game plan has to be to frustrate that team. You know, they expect to score every shift. They expect every power play unit to work, and which isn't working right now at all. That's the only thing that isn't going, according to Jamie Baker, their radio broadcast color commentator who we spoke with last night on the radio show. He said that's the only thing that's not clicking. So when you have those little things that aren't going well, or seem to, if the team comes in here and doesn't get on their game, you're giving yourself a chance to take it to them. And that's what the Jackets have to do. They have to take an early jump here on the San Jose Sharks, because the quicker they get on their game and the quicker they feel good about themselves, the further chance, the further away you're going to get from having that opportunity against these good teams.
Well, one guy we know is not going to play for the Blue Jackets tonight is Blake Como. He was suspended 2 games by the National Hockey League yesterday for a hit that he put on Brendan Smith in the game against Detroit on Tuesday night. So that fourth line is kind of reunited with Como, McKenzie, and Letestu. They were doing some very good things, but he is automatically out of the mix here tonight. But there are other guys available, and you were looking around here, and we're looking to see if we can find Artem Anisimov on the ice this morning, too.
I don't see him, Bob, and I'm not sure what's going on there. His wife was pregnant with a baby, so wonder if she had the baby. We haven't heard any news. Nothing's been announced that I know of. But that would be my first guess. The other thing is it's kind of the end of the flu season. I'm not sure there. I'm speculating now at this point. We see Atkinson out there. He jumped in that spot. It looked like he jumped in with Letestu and Umberger. But I'm not sure. These are just early morning line rushes. Maybe Artie is at the hospital with some good news. We'll try to get to the bottom of that here. Maybe I can text him. Jeff Rimmer, who knows the scoop on everything.
And because of him not being there, as you just mentioned, Mark Letestu is this morning skating in the center position instead of, he's skating in the third line center position instead of skating on the fourth line with Derek McKenzie. Derek McKenzie's out there right now with Corey Trop and Matt Fratton, who's a guy that was acquired from Los Angeles in the trade for Marian Gaborik. He came in and played the 1 game against Chicago, didn't play against Nashville, and didn't get a chance to play the other night against Detroit because Todd Richards was pretty happy with what he got out of his team in Nashville and just stayed with that. One guy that is out on the ice here this morning, and this is great to see, and it means he is closer and closer to a return, is defenseman Fedor Tootin. He's out there taking part in a regular morning skate.
That's good to see, and it's observant by you. I didn't really notice that. He's that's awesome, because he's going through that little setback, that injury. He's a big part of this blue line. It's a guy you don't really talk about because you can watch a game and he's just steady. He's a guy you probably notice. You probably pick him apart for a mistake, which wouldn't be very often because he's just a quiet player out there and a leader in this group. He's been in the NHL for a while. We know that. He's been part of this team for a good while, and it's great to see guys like that coming back. And think about how excited he is. I mean, it's the time of year where you want to get involved. You want to be a part of the playoff push and a part of the buzz. So he's got to be like a kid out there now. And it's amazing how that happens. You go through an injury, you have to stay at home while your team is traveling, having success. having those moments on the road where you're just in the locker room after, so feel so good because you work so hard to get your victories. Just think he just wants that feeling to get back and be a part of all this stuff that he's watching go on around.
And here's the best thing about Fedor Tuca coming back. You literally have to sit down and pick apart the 6 defensemen that are in the lineup right now and figure out, who do you take out? Nobody is necessarily worthy of being taken. You know, they're all playing very, very well, and somebody's going to have to come out of the lineup when he comes back. And again, that goes back to that how we talk about there's competition, and you know that competition is good. It's more than a good thing. It's a great thing.
It's a great thing. Just think about that, though. I mean, you have that many players that don't need to be out of the lineup, and really there was moments where there was no reason why you would have Corey Trop out. He was great. Plus 11. He's doing some wonderful things for the team. We mentioned Anisimov not being on, and I tried to text Jeff to get the scoop, but we got to hear it from his voice. Jeff, what do you got?
He wouldn't return the text. He had to come on.
I did return the text.
I didn't get it.
Well, there must be something wrong with your telephone. Here, Jody Shelley. Wife is probably having or just had the baby.
That's speculation.
And it's now confirmed.
Oh.
See? That's why you guys want me here.
You talked to Todd Sherrod?
I asked Todd, and Todd very menacingly said, yeah, I got a text at 4:32 this morning from Artem that he was on the way to the hospital.
It's exciting stuff.
So I said, hey, he texted you at 4:32, keeping you on top of it, which as Vice President of Communications, he should be. So you got, again, you guys get the latest and greatest.
Did he wake him up with the text? I guess that's why.
Well, I asked that, and I guess that's why I thought he even mentioned it to me. And he said, no, he was getting his son Landry some cough medicine, as it turned out at that very moment. I'm telling you, we're getting the story behind the story here right now.
Yeah. Are we breaking this?
We're breaking it. We have broken it.
So
you guys have a
no
theme
baby
that
yet,
you can
but
run
we know he's at the hospital.
Well,
his wife was going into labor.
To be perfectly honest and I guess authoritative and on the money, she could have in fact had the baby at 4:32, depending on how long. Of course, this is their first child. I'm surprised that
Dr. Jeff,
with this morning live morning skate here, that you didn't have a correspondent standing at the Riverside Hospital waiting there to break the news.
Well, I'm more surprised, Bob, that you didn't know this already. At 4:32, I thought you would have known at 4:33 that he was at the hospital, because you are on.
Why didn't you get a text?
I'm going to ask Artem when he gets here. I mean, why didn't he just text me? And then I could have, in fact, let you guys know before you went on the air here this morning.
Then we could have had a correspondent, maybe a live camera at the hospital.
Exactly. That would have been great. I mean, where's Marcus Stevenson when you need him?
What else do you notice here this morning? Anything stand out at this morning skate for you, Jeff?
I think Cam Atkinson is going to move up in the lineup after being a healthy scratch 2 straight games, 3 if you include the unfortunate situation in Dallas. I would think that that would be a wake-up call for him, and I would hope that he would step up here tonight and show head coach Todd Richards and the staff that he no longer wants to be left out and wants to play every game. It's the first time in his career that he's been a healthy scratch. Of course, he's been hurt and missed games, but it's got to be awfully tough. And Jody, you can certainly, from a player's perspective, share those thoughts on just how tough it is, knowing that you're healthy, wanting to go, wanting to make a contribution to the team in the playoff race, and being told you're not playing that night.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah, of course you want to be in. There's a competitive nature with all these guys. That's why they're at the highest level they can possibly be, of course. But Bob, my thing is, okay, you're out of the lineup. You're going to come back in. Are you going to come back in and play to the identity of this team? That's the key. Don't come in and be an individual and play what you think is your game. You have to come in and accept the role and do it to a T, because this team together is doing that. You have individuals doing things that they're not usually doing. So that's the question I would ask.
Well, and that's really what I was going to ask you guys too. When he comes back, what does he need to do? I mean, when you look at, he's got 18 goals on the year. So if you just want to go by the numbers, you know, it's a head scratcher as to why he comes out of the lineup from that. But it is all those other things away from the puck, and those are the kind of things that he has to step up and do. And he's got to go with that that hard work, especially away from the puck, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And to quote my partner, Bill Davitt, he's got to keep the legs moving.
That's right.
And I think that's a key. And he's got to move north and south. This east-west stuff is not going to work the way this team is playing right now. So I expect him to play with a great deal of intensity tonight.
And you would think, just not to pound this, and we love, I mean, Cam Atkinson's a big part of this team. You don't want to see a guy sitting out, of course. The team is having success. Maybe this is just a bump on his long journey. Hopefully that's what it is. But you look at a guy like Gaborik, who was here, and he was injured, and he came back, and he didn't fit in with this group. And it's an interesting dynamic. I mean, we haven't spoke about it much. But there is a way this team plays, and we know how Marian Gaborik plays, and it didn't fit the mold here. And that is a big reason why I think they kind of moved them too. So these situations are going to arise. Someone else is going to be sitting out, scratching their head, wondering why they're not in. But it's the reality of the depth of this team.
That's a great point, Jody. And I'll tell you, talking earlier this morning here with Larry Robinson, the Hall of Fame defenseman of Montreal, and he just kept marveling about how well the Blue Jackets are playing. He said nobody's going to want to play the Jackets in the first round. He's already suggested the Jackets are going to be a playoff team. I hope the team doesn't think that they've got that automatic berth, but he says they're hardworking. They've got a great goaltender, and they are a very difficult team to play against. If you recall our game in San Jose just before the Olympic break, the Sharks got off to that great start in the first period, and then the Jackets made the game interesting as it wore on. But you've got to be ready to play, and as Larry said, if you don't come and play that lunch pail game every night, and that includes a skilled team like San Jose, you're not going to win in this league because there's such a fine line between teams here. We're almost there as far as parity is concerned, and you've got to come out and play every night.
Yeah, and if you really look at the Metropolitan Division, you can see that parity. Let's take a look at the numbers right now. There you see where the Blue Jackets, 73 points, just one behind the Rangers. Nobody's catching the Penguins in this division, obviously. But then just look further down here. You see Philadelphia. They've got 73 points. Detroit, New Jersey, 71 points. Tampa's got 75. Montreal, 77. Toronto, 78. Look how many teams are all bunched up right there.
It's crazy, and you have to look up. I mean, you got to look at the Rangers, obviously, if you're the Jackets. You also got to look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they're at 5 points ahead, but reality, I mean, sure, Montreal's right there too, but those two teams would be the target for me. Don't just look at the team ahead of you. Look at those teams that are a little further up the margin.
Best case scenario, the Blue Jackets catch and pass the Rangers. We got the Rangers here next week, Friday night, after playing a game in Montreal on Thursday. That's going to be a huge game because if the Jackets could finish second in the division, guess what? They would get home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. And that is huge. That would be terrific. Although, let me ask you this, Jody and Bob. Would it be better for this young team to perhaps start out on the road as opposed to playing at home? Now, personally, with the Blue Jackets winning, what is it now, 5 in a row on home ice, I'd say the advantage would be to play at home to start the playoffs. But I'm just wondering, and I'm really interested in you gentlemen giving me your thoughts. Would it be better for a young team to go on the road, maybe split the first 2 games, come home? You now have home ice advantage in the first round. But to me, still, I'd like to finish second and have home ice.
I don't think it matters for this team. And I'll tell you why I don't think it matters. And we were talking before you came on about how this team, the push that they made last year, they have a belief factor coming out of the Olympic break that they can do it again. And they're moving in that direction right now. So they played playoffs all last year, even though they didn't technically get in. You're playing playoffs right now just to get into the playoffs. So to me, I know it's a whole different world, Jody, and I know that everything gets magnified, but I think if you're playing these big games now and you're winning, why not start at home? Why not have your home crowd behind you to start off? And I really don't think for this group, personally, I don't think it makes a difference if they start at home or on the road.
Yeah, I don't think you overthink it. I mean, that's honestly, I agree with you on that. There is a little bit to be said for getting on the road, getting away from any distractions. You know, it's a real fun time, and it's a fun time on the road when you have 3 days in the hotel, eating together, moving around together on buses, practicing. It's all you're focused on. We're at home, it's, yeah, you're focused on, but you also have to, you know, I mean, there's different things you do at home. Probably not your laundry, but you help out around
I do.
Your baby. You do, but not during the playoffs, I know that. Help out with things that are happening out at home. So if you want to overthink it, yeah, there might be a little bit there, but I'm with you, Bob. Don't overthink this. I think at home would be a fun place to start.
Yeah.
If you have that luxury.
Yeah, if you get the luxury. But as Jeff said, you're right there. You're sitting in position.
You can do
Who
it.
would they play right now? I was trying to.
Tampa.
They'd play Tampa?
Yeah. So that wouldn't be too bad.
Jody, you got to stay out of the sun. You got to stay out of the sun.
Can I borrow
Jody.
your hat, Jeff?
Absolutely. Which one do you want me to bring?
Actually, I need a longer
brim.
Yeah, it doesn't cover my nose.
A brim from rim.
Here you go.
Who do you guys think? Who do you expect to see stand out tonight? Ryan Johansson tends to have good games against the San Jose Sharks team.
Well, they need. I talked to Ryan here this morning, and he's kind of leveled off here. In the last
everybody already.
If you get here as early as I do,
It's
you
only
can too.
10:30.
But that's the best time to talk to these guys. There's not a lot of pressure.
They're still asleep.
When they're still having sleep, that's right. They might tell you anything.
No, Ryan. I asked Ryan, what time do you wake up? And he was still kind of a little groggy, as you'd suggest. He said, I woke up at 8, so he was here about 8:30, 8:35. Lived just down the road here. I'm not going to give out his address because we don't want fans sitting out there.
Because you were
waiting
standing
for him.
outside his door this
No.
morning.
I wanted to go to Riverside Hospital and find out what the Anisimov had for the first child.
Okay.
That's probably where I should have stopped on my way down. But anyway, moving along, he feels that he can certainly elevate his game. You're right, Bob. He loves to play against the San Jose Hockey Club. And after all, did you ever check his number? He wears 19. Who wears 19 on the other side? That's his favorite player.
Jumbo Joe.
So that's a story in itself. Who else do I expect to have a big game? Nathan Horton seems to be feeling better. Talking to him this morning, he had a little work done on his back yesterday, and he said he felt great here today. Sergei Bobrovsky right now is in the zone. What another outstanding performance that he put up. In fact, Larry Robinson commenting on that. You don't have a goaltender, you're not going to win in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and he singled out Bobrovsky for this play. So.
What about Tootin? You think he'll play tonight?
No.
That's pretty good.
No, I think they're going to save Tootin for Minnesota, based on what Coach Richard said prior to the game on Tuesday night, that they get him in, practice with the team, and then best case scenario, play Saturday in Minnesota. But hey, if he looks that good, and hey, let's get him in the lineup. He said this morning, walking in, had the big smile on his face, and I said, how do you feel, Toots? He said, outstanding. So we'll see.
Well, we just saw the other night where Nikita practiced in Nashville. It looked pretty good that morning, but they had already decided they were going to hold him out of that game. So
I think they'll probably do the same thing with Tootin, and I think there's a good chance with him looking so good here today that he likely will play in Minnesota on Saturday, which again is a very, very big game. Minnesota's got the Rangers tonight. We're Minnesota Wild fans tonight, right, guys?
That'll be the only time in my life I'm a Minnesota Wild fan.
All right.
Unless you're playing the Flames or some other division team.
I got you.
Let me. Now I lost my whole train of thought. Oh, I was going. You mentioned Nathan Horton and feeling better, and he had a goal in Dallas, and he had 2 assists here the other night. And we saw Brandon Dubinsky drive hard to the net and get a goal the other night too. And these are 2 guys. They've been kind of quiet for a while too. So this would be the time for them to heat back up. That would be a great boost and a great punch. They've done so many things away from the puck. Great to see them start to get rewarded.
I'll throw another name out there, and you're absolutely right. Both those players need to step up for the Jackets to be successful, but there's another guy that I think has elevated his game. 3 goals in the last 5 home games. We had a production meeting this morning, and I suggested that we lead off our telecast talking about Boone Jenner. That was a pretty goal he scored. Turned out to be the game-winning goal. Now with, 3 or 4 game-winning goals, I think that's tied for 3rd amongst rookies of the NHL. Boone Jenner, look for a big game from him tonight as well. He and Johansson scored in San Jose. So it'd be nice to see both those guys chip one in tonight as well.
How about R.J. Umberger last game?
I thought he had the feet moving.
He did.
I thought he was skating. That's the best we've seen him skate in a while.
I think you're right. I agree with you. And there's moments during the season where that guy just seems motivated to another level. And I thought last game he had an agenda. And it's good to see that big man with he can move. He's got good hands. He's got that mindset to go to the net, and those are all good things. And I think that the young guys feed off a guy like that, not having a tough game or struggling, because he had an agenda, and I hope he brings that again tonight.
Do you think, this is the question, is to follow that one up, do you think that part of his agenda is now that he can sniff those playoffs, and he knows how difficult it's been for this franchise here in recent years? I know that he's had some comments in the Dispatch here over the last several days, just how important it is the Blue Jackets make the playoffs and be in that postseason. Do you think that's a little extra motivation for him?
You know what? I think it could be. It also could be what he saw the other night in Dallas. I don't know. Just something about him. He's a family guy, I feel, this year, and I just felt that some of those guys were moved in a different way. I know we all were, but I don't know. There's some sense where you sometimes get worried about things, and when you go see children at the hospital, or there's just you go a little bit of reality.
Yeah,
you
reality
go through reality. You're like, you know what am I worrying about? And he kind of played like he wasn't worried about a thing. So
Speaking of the Dallas,
that's an assumption. I'll ask him after and see what he says.
speaking of the Dallas situation, just an update on Beverly from Nathan Horton.
Yeah.
Nathan saying that he was texting back and forth with Beverly yesterday. So
good.
That's really, really good news.
Really?
They were teammates and, of course, won a Stanley Cup together.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
So
it really shook up the Boston Bruin players, I'm told. Really shook up that hockey club. They were out. It was birthday celebration for Tuukka Rask. And the guys were out as a team. And it came across on Twitter. And the guys, it just ended their night. As far, and all they wanted to know and getting updates on Beverly and getting back and watching the sports news and see if there were any updates on it. It really affected the Bruins hockey team.
Affected the whole hockey world, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was getting texts from players in Philadelphia wondering what was going on.
Wow.
So the morning skate continuing here. Todd Richards has come off the ice. And be ready to go to him. All right, so we are now joined by the head coach of the Blue Jackets. Todd Richards is with us right now. And Todd, we were talking about the guys that you have on the ice and guys that aren't on the ice this morning. No Artem Anisimov for you today. We understand that he had an early morning call to go to the hospital.
Yeah, he had an early morning, and I think all expecting fathers out there probably know what, or all fathers that have gone through it, I should say, know what's going on in his life right now, and we're all excited for him, and obviously thinking about him, and can't wait to hear the good news.
If everything goes well for him, even though it's going to be a long day, do you expect to have him on the ice tonight?
You know what? That's going to be something that we'll probably discuss later. We don't want to force the issue. There's something that's way more important going on in his life right now, as far as him dealing with some emotions, probably supporting his wife and his newborn. So we'll that'll be discussed later. And again, we've all been through it, so we know the emotions that come from that experience too, and it could be a draining, not only getting up early in the morning, but just the physical, mental, emotional toll that it takes going through that whole process.
Yeah, there's no question. My wife was in labor, I think 24 hours, so that was a long one. Hey, Todd, I wanted to ask you, you have, two of your D-men, a rookie, Ryan Murray, and then the veteran, Feder Tootin, out of the lineup. And you look at the other guys like Savard and Wisniewski and Johnson, all the guys really, even Golubev, stepped in there and have really done a nice job. How is that for you as a coach? Is that just a great, do you like the way that this is coming together?
Whenever you deal with injuries, you're always looking for, you need guys to step up and kind of seize the opportunity. You have to give a lot of credit to, I think, the coaches down in Springfield. The job that they've done down there, preparing these young men so when they get the opportunity, they're ready to play. Craig Hartsburg has done a great job here, managing the defensemen and also coaching them here. There are some subtle things that are done a little bit differently in Springfield than what we do up here. So there's a little bit of coaching involved there. And then I think it's also the players supporting one another. But you need those. You're going to have injuries all year. And, for us, it was a little bit tough, and that's the reason why at the deadline we went out and got a player like Nick Schultz, is because you had Tootin down with an injury, Ryan Murray down, and, we're one injury away from bringing up another guy, which would have made us really thin. But we added him, and, Nikitin went down in Chicago, but fortunate for us, he was okay. He's able to come back, and, so now we got some depth on the back end, and it looks like Tootin isn't too far away from coming back and playing.
Coach, obviously you've got to fill the void with Como being suspended for a couple of games. Just watching the morning skate here, it looks like Cam Atkinson will get back in the lineup. Far be it, though, for me to decide what your lineup is, so maybe you could share it with us.
Well, Cam Atkinson will go back in, and if Artie's out, then Matt Fratton will go in too. We just got to shuffle the lines a little bit, and Cam will be playing in a top 9 position where he really needs to be. Based on what I saw this morning, it looks like he's got something to prove. And that's what, really those opportunities are for. And I shouldn't even say opportunities. Those situations kind of present themselves, and that's what the kind of reaction you want to get from the players is that fire to get back in the lineup and prove that they deserve to be there. I really liked Blake Comeau's game last game. I thought he might have been our best forward out on the ice. Created some chances, was a physical presence out on the ice, and And then so it will be disappointing just missing him from the game tonight. But again, other guys got to step up. You need Matt Fratton and Cam Atkinson to step up and do the job that we know they can do.
Todd, you got San Jose tonight, Minnesota coming the next game. You're very familiar with both. Big week for you personally a little bit. I mean, I know there's a big task at hand, but when you play these teams and organizations you're familiar with, a little extra jump for you this morning?
The further you get away from it, the less attached I think you are. There's still some great people on both sides, both with San Jose and both with Minnesota. So it is exciting. It is a little bit different than playing in Edmonton Oilers or Colorado Avalanche, just based on you've been there, you know some of the players, you know the coaches, you know the staff, the organization a little bit better. But the further you get away from it, it's like, as I've told other people, and Jody, you can relate to this as well, it's like an old girlfriend you bump into. The first month, first year might be a little bit difficult when you run into each other, but as you get further away from the relationship and you certainly find someone that might be a little bit better than your old girlfriend, makes it a little bit easier.
See, Jody, you got to be like Coach Richards. He's cut the cord.
Oh, yeah.
He's cut the cord. Yeah, I like that.
Todd, one final thing for you. The San Jose Sharks tonight, last time you saw them, they didn't have some of their key people in the lineup. They've got those guys back tonight. The Logan Coutures, Rafi Torres is healthy now. They did travel all day yesterday. What do you expect out of the Sharks here tonight?
I'm expecting a really tough game from them tonight. I watched their game versus Toronto. They looked really good, their last game, and it was at home and it was travel, but that's a veteran team over there. Great leadership, great coaches. So they're going to be ready to go. They're 4-0-1 in their last 5 and 7-2-1 in their last 10. And my understanding, the report I got was their radio guy is talking about this is the best he's seen them play 5-on-5. And going over the clips, what I watched this morning, it's a dangerous, dangerous team. They skate. They're a skilled team. But it's the way that they play the game, too. You know, they make it hard on you because of how hard they forecheck, how hard they skate. They go to the net hard, and they play hard there. So it's not just a real pretty team. They're dangerous because they can play pretty, but they play ugly and dirty, too.
Hey, you know you can't believe those radio guys.
Well, just other teams' radio guys. I think.
Smart. Todd, thank you very much. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes with us today.
All right, guys.
That is head coach Todd Richards of the Blue Jackets coming off the ice after the morning skate here today.
You know what? Listening to Todd describe the San Jose Sharks is exactly what Larry Robinson said about the Blue Jackets this morning. Exactly the same.
Gamesmanship?
No, it's not gamesmanship. It's
matchup.
respect.
It is a good matchup.
It's respect for the other team. And again, talking in terms of the San Jose Shark Hockey Club, the question that I was asked here this morning is this the year? And Jody, you can perhaps give us some insight into this because you were there in San Jose. The team not really has changed much since you were there. Is this the year that the Sharks put it together? That Western Conference, we talk about the East and the parity there. That Western Conference, you look at the top end, you're looking at San Jose, L.A., Anaheim, although they've lost, 4 or 5 in a row right now. You're looking at Chicago, the defending Stanley Cup champions. You've got St. Louis in the hunt. But is this the year that the Sharks, who have come so close and so many people expect them to be the Stanley Cup finalists, is this the year they put it together?
Here's the question I would ask, Jeff. And I asked the radio announcer, the radio color for the Sharks last night on our radio show, which I'm sure you listened to.
Yes, I did. I even made a brief appearance. Brief is the operative word.
Is there something different about the San Jose Sharks this year? Because they're always in the Stanley Cup finals conversation midway through the year. They're always a big team. Playoffs get closer, and they seem to get tight. And I've noticed that when I was there. But is there something different in the air? And we asked Jamie Baker, Bob, and he said yes. And I don't know. I haven't seen them enough. I mean, they do have so much depth. Logan Couture is a young, bright prospect in the National Hockey League. Joe Pavelski's set. I mean, he was on the biggest stage we recently have seen in the Olympics.
Right.
In a team that really underachieved with Team USA, but he played a major role. He's a solid player. They just have a group that Jamie Baker said, right, Bob, that they're different.
Yeah, he did. He said they're different. There's something different about them, but I can't buy into them.
I saw you shaking your head.
Can't buy into them, and Chicago, maybe it's just because we just saw Chicago last week and they look like world beaters in that game against the Blue Jackets. And then the St. Louis Blues, the way that they're playing right now and adding Ryan Miller and shoring up their goaltending situation. The L.A. Kings, who have just recently won a Stanley Cup and they're playing well. Anaheim is kind of, to say they tailed off, it is true, but my goodness, they started so high where they didn't really have anywhere to go besides tailing off. So
every team does for a while.
Yeah, San Jose, they're a great team. Don't get me wrong, but I have a hard time seeing them in the Stanley Cup final coming out of that Western Conference.
All right,
really?
You may or may not agree with me here, Jody, but I think the key, and both you gentlemen are correct. I think the key for them is number 19, Joe Thornton, must step up.
Yes.
And it's his personality, and he's a laid-back guy. I think he has to take it to another level. If he takes it to another level with the Couture and with Pavelski and with their defense, Dan Boyle, Vlasic, if he takes it to that next level, this might, in fact, be the year. And, of course, the bottom line, too, they've got to get the goaltending.
Well, I think that he will because he's playing a lesser role. He's not – the torch has kind of been passed in the sense to Logan – and guys like that who are now taking over Pavelski gives Joe a sense to take a step back. All those critics are going to be there, of course, until he wins the Stanley Cup. But I just think it's a comfortable situation. I love that he had the Olympics off and had some time to rest. Because when we play with him, he wanted to play every game. And I'm like, listen, go sit upstairs and watch a game, take a day off. Nope, I'm going to play every game. Okay. But in the end, I just thought that, big situations – it's nice to go into the last portion of the season really anxious to play.
All right, I think we're about ready to go into the dressing room here. And let's hear from Cam Atkinson, who's going to come back into the lineup here tonight.
That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. Good. All right, drawn back in. Opportunity again right there for you. Tell me how you plan to make the most of it tonight.
I'm just going to work hard and play my game and try to be one of the hardest workers out there. I think that's all I can do and control what I can control and hopefully take this opportunity and seize the moment and never look back.
How tough has it been for you, Cam?
It's been real tough. It's the first time in my career I've been healthy scratched a couple times or at least once, and it's just tough. I think the toughest part is just watching your teammates go out and win and share those special moments together and not really be a part of it. I think that's the hardest part is watching from above. But as long as the boys are winning, we're in a playoff race, and hopefully I can help the team win tonight.
I know you met with Todd. Were some of the things from that discussion, will some of those things from that discussion be implemented tonight? Is it a matter of changing some things, or what is it for you?
I think just, doing things that I've done in the past that has made me successful and just moving my feet with and without the puck and shooting the puck. I think when I'm doing those two things, I'm having success and I'm helping the team win and creating chances for my line mates.
Awesome. Good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, I didn't like not talking to you.
That is Cam Atkinson talking about his return to the lineup tonight. And, Jeff, you said he had to move his feet. He said he had to move his feet. How about that?
Not surprised.
Same guy.
Yeah.
Did you talk to him this morning, too?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I did say hello. He walked in with Tootin, and I did say hello. But, no, I did not talk to him.
So,
and there you see a player that's been out of the lineup, and he's got to be excited. I mean, it sure is disappointing to sit out and watch. I know that, Bob.
Well,
not anymore. I enjoy watching with you guys.
You are in every day. Radio, television.
And I enjoy it. But
internet.
when I was in the press box watching, and you wonder why, you call your parent. I mean, honestly, I was calling my mom and dad. I was a 36-year-old man. Mom, My mom's like, oh, you played great. Just, work hard. You go through those things your whole career. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But you just wonder why. You come in and you work hard. Why him? Why not me? And then like Cam said, I like the comment about, well, as long as the team's winning. It's such a special thing to be in the NHL, such a special thing to be a part of a team in the NHL, a big part, and he is. But this is a learning thing for Cam, and hopefully this is a point for him and the team where he can look back, Bob, and say, that was a good thing for him.
These guys are competitors. They're in the National Hockey League because they are the best athletes that there are. I want to relate a funny story to you. You guys are going to get a kick out of this. I'm at home watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. First period comes to an end, and the Detroit Red Wings are playing. I get a phone call from the trainer's room in Joe Louis Arena from Dino Ciccarelli. And why is he upset? He's playing in the game, but Scotty Bowman's not using him on the power play. He was
called
upset. Yeah, in between
From
periods.
a payphone?
No, from the dressing room.
Seriously?
Honest to God, funniest story ever. And I'm saying, just relax. You're out there. You're playing.
You had to
It's
talk
the
him
Stanley
down?
Cup playoffs. Yeah, talk him off the ledge.
He called Scotty Bowman and got it all fixed for him.
No, I didn't.
Let's go
He
back
got
down-
traded.
Imagine that. Let's go back downstairs and hear from defenseman.
Where everyone's going to be,
right
and
now.
it's fun when you're on a hard-working team. Guys go out and are working hard for one another, and it's the right way to play the game.
And is that kind of approach especially important against a team like the Sharks?
Yeah, I think so. You got to be attention to detail. Obviously, every shift, every play kind of matters. So you got to make sure you're there for one another. You're supporting the puck, supporting the play, and make sure that we're sticking with our game all the way through.
Are you having fun in Columbus so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, came on the road at the start, so a little bit of a road trip, and then just back here for a couple days now. We're trying to get settled in and used to everything here, but it's been good. It's been the guys have been great. The staff here, everyone's been welcoming, so that makes it easier for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Nick Schultz right there. What an addition that has been. And Jeff, obviously they knew Ryan Murray was going to be out for a longer period of time than they initially thought or initially hoped. And so that was a quick move to go out and pick him up. Veteran defenseman, has played under Todd Richards before, understands the system. You could see in Chicago he was trying to get adjusted to everything that was going on in his
Tough
teammates.
day.
But after one day, he did that, and then he comes in the next day in Nashville. By the time he plays in Nashville, he's normal.
Well, he didn't even play in the morning skate.
Right.
And he hadn't even made it to Chicago until, I guess, around 12:30, 1 o'clock. That was, as Jody points out, a tough day. But, as far as the situation picking up a defenseman, I think the Blue Jackets kind of kept it under wraps. I don't think they wanted it out that Ryan Murray was going to have the arthroscopic surgery, if in fact he had it even before the deadline even came and went, and simply because you don't want to let other general managers know that you're in a situation where you need to pick up a defenseman. You're down a couple of defensemen. They kept that under wraps, and that was perfect because they were able to acquire a defenseman, and you pick up a quality stay-at-home guy in Schultz. And I think that the Jackets did a great job in keeping that under the table, so to speak.
Yeah, and you talk about his first game. Yeah, he was definitely rusty, trying to figure out where he was, what he was doing, new system, no practice. And now the last few games, it's just been he's really fit in well. There's been it doesn't jump off the page as making mistakes. He just kind of, and that's a lot of credit to him as a veteran player, because usually it takes longer than 1 or 2 games. He seems to be in there seamlessly, which is a good thing for the Jackets. Nice pickup.
And Tootin's going to return, as we speculate, perhaps on Saturday. That gives the Jackets extra depth. And should we look ahead to the playoffs and the Jackets be part of it, you need that depth, especially on the blue line. And here's a guy that's going to be a valuable asset for the Jackets as they move forward.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting. We talked about who might come out when Feder Tootin returns to the lineup, and guys like David Savard has been all year. He has made that case that, hey, guess what? I need to stay in the lineup.
That'd be tough to do.
And now Dalton Proud has done the same thing since he's come back from Springfield. He's been back to the guy that we saw last year. So we always talk about these are good decisions because you have competition, blah, 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 all the cliches we want to throw out. But the fact of the matter is, I wouldn't want to be the guy making that decision because it's going to be tough.
There's a few decisions. I just want to refer to what's going on the ice here, guys. So the practice is over. The goal, Bob is off. He's starting tonight. You got Dan Highnote in one corner, and you see him on the screen here. He's talking to Boone Jenner and Nick Foligno. And these are the moments where, you have one-on-one time with a coach. You have questions. It could be personal questions. It could be details about the game. It could be what you're going to do off a face-off. Boone and Nick have been working together on a line, and it's just getting to know each other. And this is another way to get to know each other and to work things out. And Dan Highnote has been watching video, of course. That's what the assistant coaches do. So these little details here. And then you come down to the other end of the rink, and you have the 5 guys who won't be playing tonight, including Tootin, Como, St. Denis, Jared Bull, and then Golubev. And these guys have already skated hard. McElligott in there too, sorry. And these guys have already skated hard and done some conditioning. Now they're doing drills with the goalie coach, Ian, to just help McElligott do some things and work on some details for their game. Timing, you see Jared Boulder missed that puck. That's a timing thing. It's things that he's going to have to work on the next couple weeks. But it's time after practice like this where you get an opportunity to work on your little small details. I used to call it the hockey school after practice, but that's basically what it is.
That's spoken like a true veteran of the hockey school. Oh, I'm tough on you today. I'm sorry, Jody.
That's
I love
fine,
you, buddy.
Jeff.
I love you. I know paybacks are tough.
I'll just take that hat from you.
I want to tell you, though, you really like it, huh? Some people can wear them, some others can't. Jared Bull, I think today is the best I've seen him skate. Would you agree?
I haven't really watched him. But,
well, you've been busy focusing on your show here.
You know, he's moving pretty good right now. He already – there's a good little play by
I think
Jared.
there's so many things the Blue Jackets miss by not having him in the lineup.
I agree.
I think there are a ton of things that are missed.
Isn't that encouraging?
Yes.
I agree.
Very encouraging.
There's so many things that he can do, so many things that he brings to the table. And, you know, and again, it's kind of gone unnoticed in a way because the team's been having success. But I think, especially as you guys talked about, people say you don't need to fight in the playoffs, but you still need to have a threat out there, and you need to have a guy that can play the game and be the threat. He's the guy.
You know how much, sorry, Jeff, you know how much the San Jose Sharks appreciate having Rafi Torres back in their lineup?
Yeah.
And when they lost him last year, do you remember how that team completely changed? Jared Bull has that dynamic. There's a threat, and I'm telling you, when you sit in the locker room, guys that are a little timid, they like rolling into Columbus and not having Jared Bull on the other bench.
And it's, again, just seeing him skate today. He labored last week in Nashville watching him in the morning skate, but he looks like a different player out here. Maybe the next 10 days to 2 weeks we might finally see him in the lineup.
Well, and obviously that would be good because he needs to get back in there, especially if the team winds up going to the playoffs. He needs to get some reps in the regular season so that he can be ready for that. No question about that. So it'd be great to have him back. Be great to have everybody back in there. You continue to look at the group that's skating here after the morning skate. There you see Frederick St. Denis. He's another subject. Here's a guy that came up from the American Hockey League as a depth guy and has yet to get in a game. So he's out here doing this work and still waiting for that opportunity.
Yeah, how about that, them keeping him around like that? That's great. I mean, what a great experience for him just to practice at this level and be around the NHL. And it's a smart move for the Blue Jackets who are making a playoff run because you don't want a kid to come up. And it was Golubev. Golubev was the guy that was kind of waiting up a little bit, down a little bit. Now you have a guy who's been around here for a few days, getting familiar with meetings, the way things are done here, those little nuances of the Columbus Blue Jackets that are different than the Springfield Falcons. These are little details that might pay off in a playoff run and into the playoffs, where you don't just come in with blank stares and wonder, where do I go, which door do I go into, you know, where do I sit on the plane? All those little details. I like what the Blue Jackets are doing with him.
And, you know, Jody, you know how this goes, too. I'm sure there's some people in Springfield saying, when are they sending that guy back down? Because he was one of their best defensemen. Right. He and Cody Golubev were representing the American Hockey League in the All-Star game in St. John's, Newfoundland.
I didn't know that.
So, you know, he's had a great season in Springfield. That's why he's here, and probably why they're keeping him around a little bit to get him more of this experience. Because there really is something said, and you're talking about learning all the nuances of the NHL, but how about this time of year, too, when you're driving to make the playoffs? Is that you learn even more faster, don't you?
You're right, and it's all business all the time, and it's details, and he's up there watching. You'll see him in the press box tonight watching up top, and that's different than watching on TV for these young kids. In Philadelphia, they used to bring in their prospects, and they would have to watch from up in the press box to watch the details and see how the breakouts are happening, the neutral zone. So he's picking up stuff on a daily basis here, just being around.
The other thing that you will see when we hope the Blue Jackets will clinch a playoff spot is, depending on where Springfield is, they will bring up a good number of players just to be around the team. They call them the Black Aces, and that all started in Montreal with the Canadiens in the 70s, and actually that's where I started. And they had a group of 6 or 8 players up from Halifax, from Nova Scotia Voyageurs, and they were the Black Aces. And after the main guys left the ice, then the Black Aces would come out, and that's what I'm sure the Jackets will do as well. All
right, well, right now let's go downstairs and talk to Boone Jenner, who's been kind enough to join us here this morning. Boone, what was the mindset out there today? It looked like you guys were having a pretty good mix of fun and business getting ready for this game against San Jose tonight.
Yeah, I think it was pretty business-like. We, obviously want to keep it loose too, and we know it's going to be a big game coming in tonight with a really good San Jose Sharks team. So we want to get our focus ready.
After that goal the other night, Boone, congratulations, by the way. Nice shot.
Thanks.
You going to keep the same stick? Any new tape jobs? What are you going to do? You got a little, you going to stick with that stick?
I'm not sure yet. I think I'm going to cut a new one here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like cutting new ones for games.
Yeah, you got to move on, I guess.
Yeah.
Get ready for the next game. How was practice? You work on anything special yourself out there?
Yeah, I think just, regular game day routine for me. I kind of do the same thing out there, kind of into a routine, and then did some shooting and stuff, some tips after, and, feel good.
Boone, we're looking at the goal that you scored the other night against the Detroit Red Wings right now, and just to go back to that, just another one of those hard-working plays. You've turned in so many of those this year, but that might have been the biggest one that you've had to this point, do you think?
Yeah, I think it was a big goal. Obviously, 1-1 in the third, it was a big game, with Detroit and us being so close. And, I think, like you said, it was just a good effort by everyone. We got it in, forechecked hard, and then, I was lucky enough to come out of the corner with the puck, and Fliggy had a great screen, and I just saw the lane and tried to fire.
Boone, after your season was finished last year in Oshawa, you joined Springfield for their playoff run. Jackets are in a playoff run. You're still a rookie, although people say to me, it's hard to believe that Boone Jenner is still a rookie in the National Hockey League. What's it mean to you being in the NHL first year and now being right in the middle of a playoff hunt for the Blue Jackets?
Yeah, it's awesome. Obviously, it's a lot of fun. Obviously, that's a goal, is to get in playoffs and keep pushing to get better. So right now, that's what my focus is. I just want to keep helping the team, with my work and, the same way. So I just want to keep going that. And obviously, if we keep playing the way we are, things are going to keep turning out in the right results for us.
Do you think it was an advantage for you coming into this season, going to Springfield and having a chance to test and be part of pro hockey? Yeah,
absolutely. I did that for 2 years. After my junior year, I went to Springfield, and the second year getting the playoff experience, that was really cool. It was fun to play, playoff hockey at the pro level, and I think that definitely gave me some confidence in what to expect coming into this year's training camp and this year's season.
And did it also give you that perspective that you've already been there and you've done that a little bit, and when you come into the training camp this year, I know you're a young guy, but you don't want to go back there. You don't want to go back to the American Hockey League. You can almost feel like, hey, I've done pretty well there. I've learned what I need to learn there. Did that give you any extra push?
Yeah, like I said, just the experience in general and getting, a month or two in of pro hockey down there and really good playoff hockey. So, once I got there, I kind of found my game and I knew, I could play. I got confidence as it went on, and I think that really helped me over the summer and, really pushed me to, make the team here.
Hey, Boone, and one more thing for me. I watched that goal. They just played it, and earlier in the year, you get up here in the NHL, there's a lot of things, a lot of unknowns for you. What's going to happen? How fast is the game going to be? You had a little bit of space there when you curled out of the corner, and you just quickly got that shot away. You look so comfortable out there creating space and using your space. Do you look back now and think, things are coming a little slower for you out there during the games?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from the first half of the year, obviously, to the last half, I think, my game's gotten better, and I think that's the reason why I just kind of, keeping the feet and the mind moving the same way, but just slowing the game down a little bit in my head. And, I think I've been doing better at that for sure.
Well, Boone, right now it's us that are slowing you down. So
yeah.
Thank you for taking a couple of minutes. We'll let you go get ready for tonight's game against the Sharks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Boone.
Boone Jenner of the Blue Jackets there, and he really is he's really starting to come into his own right now as a player in the NHL and with this team. And he's got a great name, so no wonder so many guys are talking about him out there.
That's Jody's favorite player, by the way, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah. That's great.
And I think it's exciting. I listened to Nick Foligno yesterday on a radio interview on the NHL Network, and the way he spoke of Boone Jenner, that's a veteran, and you usually hear cliches, but Boone is a leader along with Ryan Murray. And then you go through the core group of Johansson and the young guys that are around here, Calvert. I mean, Calvert's a young guy, and Niesimov's a young guy.
Right.
You go on and on. It's an exciting time here for the Jackets, and it's great to see a young guy like Boone take it all the way he does, Bob. We watch him on a daily basis, but there's a certain level of maturity there for this rookie.
Bob and I go to the NHL draft, and this year it's going to be in Philadelphia. Jody's going to try to get in on that. No question about it. I can tell you right now, he's going to try to worm his way in and try to maybe move one of us out. But the point
Might
is,
have to leave him home to cut that cord.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's cut this video right now.
Anyway, the point I want to make is, and Bob, you'll remember this too. Boone Jenner for whatever reason. They talked about his skating. He's certainly improved in that regard. When the Jackets drafted him, the word around from general managers was right across the board, the Blue Jackets made a steal here. And many people thought, and we say it here almost on a daily basis, a future captain in the National Hockey League, future captain of the Columbus Blue Jackets, a great pickup by Columbus. He should have gone earlier in the draft. The Jackets got themselves a great pick, and you know what? He's no longer with the organization, but Don Boyd deserves credit there because he really moved for the Jackets to pick up when other teams just let him slide. And again, there was some concern about his skating, which he has improved dramatically.
Who would you compare him to? A captain in the NHL. You've been around him enough to know.
Well,
I have my comparison.
In 1996, and Jody, you may be too young to remember this.
No, I remember 1996.
Brian Skrudland.
I was 18.
Brian Skrudland of the Florida Panthers, a team that went to the Stanley Cup final. The only difference is Boone is kind of very low-key. Skrudland's off the charts.
Yeah.
He's off the charts.
How about you, Bob?
Oh, you're putting me right on the spot.
Right on the spot.
I don't know. That's a great question. You're the former player.
Obviously, you have an idea.
I do, but someone had mentioned this to me, and I kind of like it.
So it's not an original thought.
It
you
is,
want
though.
Original thoughts.
I'm taking it. Wendell Clark.
Wow. Now that's a compliment.
You don't throw that around loosely.
No, that's a compliment.
Well,
Ultimate
Wendell
leader.
He wasn't a great skater.
Ultimate leader.
Sacrifices. I don't know. I like it. No matter what, I like it.
Wow. I like it too. I might use that.
There.
Can I use that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Might be. I got to throw one name out there, but maybe not the same style of player. But he's. Ronnie Francis was a quiet guy that just found a way to get things done.
I like that too.
So that's what I will go with.
Maybe the combination of the three.
Had to be an ex-Penguin. You guys just don't cut the cord.
He was a Carolina Hurricane too, by the way.
Yeah,
he still is.
And a Hartford Whaler.
That's right. So just to wrap up one more thing, Jeff, what you were saying about a steal in the draft. Remember, that's a year the Blue Jackets didn't have a first-round pick.
Right.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
And they took him in the second round. So they kind of, in a way, got a first-rounder with that second-round pick.
Without question.
Here he is contributing.
Right.
Good work.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our morning skate edition here. The Blue Jackets and the San Jose Sharks getting underway tonight at 7 o'clock. Of course, you can see the game on Fox Sports Ohio. You can listen to it on the Blue Jackets Radio Network. For Jody Shelley and Jeff Rimmer, I'm Bob McElligott, and thanks for watching today's morning skate on Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health.